Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 9 Reunion Part 4. Thank God this is the end of this reunion, and can you believe that next week they have the nerve to be coming back with a behind the scenes episode? Like, if you guys don't stop milking this damn boring season, it is just crazy. But anyway, this isn't going to take very long, so let's go ahead and get into it. So the ladies are going to take this storyline all the way out. They're going to ride it out into the sunset like a John Wayne movie. I'm like, this is beyond ridiculousness. So the first 15 minutes of the show was spent going back and forth, you know, with Kandi screaming and yelling about, you know, her reputation, and they called her a rapist and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, like, Kandi, knock it off, please, because nobody accused you of being a rapist, and we know that there are people out there, you know, freaky, sexy people out there who take ecstasy and do all kind of stuff as part of their sexual exploits. So I'm sure this little made-up fabrication that we were privy to for this season was more along the lines of y'all were gonna give Porsha something to make the sexual experience better. Not that y'all were trying to rape Porsha. And the fact that you keep yelling, I don't do drugs and I don't drink, has nothing to do with whether or not you would give somebody else something, you know, if that's part of your little thing. But we all know that this whole story was made up. So, I mean, like I said before, if they had an award for acting on a reality series, you ladies would take the prize, because y'all were all the way in on this doggone storyline. So after that first 15 minutes of, oh my God, you called me a rapist, and Todd, you know, trying to insert himself and nobody was paying him any attention, then we have the little dramatic scene where, you know, I think Porsha gets up and leaves, and then she comes back. Then Porsha runs off again, and Kandi gets up and runs off, you know, because she's just appalled that any of this has happened. So then we spend the next doggone 15 minutes with behind the scenes and Andy going, you know, from woman to woman, you know, asking them, well, what did you think about this? And I'm thinking, like, he is just going chakeen with this whole stupid thing. And I think he gets so much joy out of playing these women, you know, like they are dolls, and just manipulating them and making them act like doggone fools on national TV. Like, he is the new slave master, you know, because... And then I was kind of thinking, like, with Phaedra, the way Phaedra was acting, like, she is just, like, so over this whole show and over this whole storyline that she allowed them, you know, that she let them talk her into being a part of, because this is just so beneath her, and it should be beneath all the women on this show. Kandi and Porsha ran off the stage, and then, you know, we spent the 15 minutes with Andy, you know, going back and forth. And then, you know, we have Kandi still outraged behind the scenes, can't believe, you know, that all this has happened and that they lied on her. And one thing I love about Kandi is no matter what's being said, she gonna stick to her script. You know, like, they made this up, they're lying on me and all this stuff, and I can't believe she made this up. But remember, at no point did Phaedra say she made anything up. She said somebody told it to her, and then she may or may not have said it to Porsha that somebody else told it to her, that she may have to, you know, Porsha is sticking with the story that, you know, that Phaedra said that she got it firsthand from Kandi, then she'll just go along with that and say that she did say it, but she don't recall saying it. But then, you know, when Kandi tells the story is, you know, she just gonna sit there and admit that she made the whole thing up. And I'm like, no, she didn't admit that she made it up. As a matter of fact, we need to change man, M-A-N, from men admit nothing to pan. Phaedra admits nothing, because Phaedra sat there with this stoic look on her face like, y'all gonna do what y'all want to do, call me names, yell, scream. Porsha, you gonna act like you know, be indignant and you're offended and hurt that I betrayed our friendship, you know, because we can't take this forever. We ain't gonna be out here for hours and hours and hours. And if I just shut up and don't say nothing, then this taping will come to an end soon enough. This foolishness will air, and then we can move on to bigger and better things. And I'm just like, okay. So then when they get back, you know, from this little interruption, so now we done wasted about 35 minutes, you know, has gone on this part 4 of this show. And then it seemed like the camera kept trying to catch Phaedra and Porsha smirking at each other. And I think it was like 2 or 3 times where the camera tried to catch them, you know, but Phaedra was like turning back to Andy, and, you know, Porsha was like looking down or dabbing at her eyes. And I mean, she had that tissue wiping at her eyes, and I'm swear I didn't see no tears running out of Portia's eyes. Like maybe when she was in the bike with Lauren and Shamia, she may have dropped a tear too, but that was it was just so fake. Just so fake. So Kandi needs to teach Porsha how to cry on command and on screen and make it look realistic. And then Shamia, you know, she's still trying to earn her peach. So then she goes back with Porsha, and she's telling Porsha, you know, I tried to tell you, you know, Phaedra wasn't your friend. And Portia's like, now is not the time. Just be here. Just be here. Just be silent and be here. But Shamia, you know, was acting like she didn't understand what that meant. So then Lauren came in. So then Porsha, you know, walks off with Lauren, and they have their little emotional sister moment. And Lauren is like, I just can't believe any of this. Are you serious? Child. I just don't know. Like, the paychecks must be good. I don't know. Somebody was paying me a bunch of money an episode. Maybe I get on there and act the fool also. So then, you know, after we go through all of this, you know, and Andy tries to get Porsha and, no, Andy tried to get Phaedra to apologize and admit that she made everything up. But like I said, Phaedra wasn't admitting nothing. So then Porsha decides that, you know, she's going to be the bigger woman, and she's going to apologize to Kandi, because she never would have did any of this if she didn't believe that her best friend, who's a lawyer, whose word she trusts, hadn't told her this. You know, she would have let it all go. And this is why she asked Phaedra not 1 time, not 2 times, but 3 times if any of this stuff was true, and if she was sure, you know, like giving her the opportunity to bike out of it. And that Phaedra, you know, stood by the story and said that it was true, and she was just sorry, you know, that it had to go here. And then, of course, throughout the show, we had the little sound bites from Kenya that wasn't nobody really paying attention to. And then when they had their little break, you know, Kenya, you know, she's on the phone telling somebody about, you know, everything that's going on. And I'm like, is that Matt she talking to? But I'm thinking it might have been either Brandon or her dad on the phone. But I was like, she probably wish it was Matt that she could have been calling to, you know, tell this story to. So she's basically, you know, telling Cynthia that, you know, Phaedra and Porsha are lying, and it's about time that these two get exposed. And then Cynthia walked off from her like, girl, everybody got time. So you can tell Cynthia is over this show. I think Phaedra is over this show. And most of us are probably over this show. And all I can think, you know, is people were talking on Twitter, because, you know, the people on Twitter really believe that this show is real and that all this stuff really happened. And they just going in hard on Phaedra and Porsha. And I'm just like, are these people paid to like be on here talking trash? Or do they really truly believe that these storylines are for real? And if they believe that they're for real, then that in and of itself is sadder than the fact that those of us who know it's fake sit there and watch it anyway and then do recaps about it. But anyway, once they got back, then we had some little random BS going on. So we talked about Mama Joyce and her shenanigans and meddling in everybody's business. And then Phaedra helping Johnny with the lawsuit, and then Apollo's new woman, and whether Phaedra had a Mr. Chocolate or not. And so I think we did know that Johnny's lawsuit is moving forward, and that they're seeking like over $100,000. And first Kandi said it was for back pay, but then as she started talking, we found out that Johnny is also seeking reimbursement of legal fees, that he hasn't paid the lawyers anything, and that they're incorporating their fees into the lawsuit. So Andy asked her, why won't she just go ahead and settle? Because was it like $5,000 that she owed? But she said she's not going to settle. And then we find out that as long as she drags this thing up, the higher the tab is going. So she might as well just go ahead and settle. And she claims that, you know, she fairly compensated Johnny for all the work that he did, and that she gives generous bonuses at the end of the year. But bonuses have nothing to do with your compensation. The bonus is a reward that you give to people for like meeting their quotas and that type of thing, but it is not part of their compensation for the jobs that they do, because you can decide at any moment not to give somebody a bonus. Oh, and then Kandi, you know, brought up the book that the girl, what's her name, Angela Hinton or Hanson. Anyway, remember the girl wrote the book about Phaedra when Apollo, you know, when it first came up that Apollo was going back to jail. And so Phaedra sued the woman for defamation, and Kandi brought that up. So of course, you know, people on social media are about to go out and buy the book and help the girl make a few more coins. But Phaedra said that she won the lawsuit, and Kandi said, well, the book is still on Barnes and Noble's being sold. And then Phaedra said, well, I'll have to go look into that. But the truth of the matter is, the judge dismissed the Angela woman's countersuit against Phaedra. And then in return, Phaedra dropped her defamation lawsuit against the woman. So the woman is free to sell the books as long as she wants to. So I guess it was a victory that the judge threw out the woman's countersuit, but it wasn't a victory on Phaedra's part, because had Phaedra really won a lawsuit, then she would have been able to stop the lady from selling the book. So by the end of the story, you know, Andy was trying his best to get Phaedra to say that she made up all the stories. But like I said, Phaedra, she apologized, you know, for the inconvenience and all the trouble that, you know, her saying what she said caused. But she never would retract and say that the story wasn't true, or that somebody didn't say that to her. So she refused to go that far. And then Kandi tried to clear Todd's name by saying that since his mom died, that Todd does not like going to New York, and when he does go, he won't go by himself, that, you know, she always goes with him, and that Todd has not been to New York in the past year. And that's all well and dandy that you know, standing up for your man, Kandi, but your man was sitting right there behind you, so why couldn't he tell us that it was a lie and that he hadn't been to New York? But you sitting there just conveniently feeding this story to us like you conveniently, you know, fed stuff all season long. And what else? Oh, and then a guy wrote in named Marvin. So Marvin said that he was thankful to Todd and the storyline that came out about Todd, you know, calling himself Marvin and having all these women in New York, because that story made the name Marvin popular. So now he's getting some play because his name is Marvin. That was, I really can't think of much of anything else that happened on this episode. And then, you know, they closed the show out by bringing out a cake for Cynthia, you know, to celebrate her 50th birthday. And I think that was about it. Oh, and then Porsha. When Porsha was talking about Phaedra, you know, when she was getting on Phaedra for getting her into all this mess. And she was like, that's just like when we was at the revival. What was that thing called? So then Phaedra said it was called the restoration service. And Porsha just kept calling it the revival. Like, you know, she was ready to squash all the beef at the revival. And I was just like, that was so damn stupid. So anyway, that was it, guys. You know, what did you think about this part 4? Because I'm thinking that they could have aired this on the episode, the first episode, and we could have been done with this. And someone on Twitter actually said that she couldn't believe that we had spent a month watching this reunion, that this damn reunion took a whole month to air when it could have been over with in about 45 minutes. So that's it for me. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I shall chat with you guys later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.